My sister blamed me for her disabled baby because of something I said at her baby shower 3 years ago. So, 3 years back, my sister Faye was having her baby shower. I was 21, she was 26. The whole family was there at Mom's house. Faye was 7 months pregnant and glowing and showing off her belly to everyone who walked in. She'd wanted this baby for years. I was in the kitchen with our cousin Diane, helping set up the fruit trays when Faye walked in holding a wine glass. Not a full one, just like 2 sips worth of red wine. But I noticed it because she'd been super strict about the pregnancy stuff. No caffeine, no lunch meat, nothing. I said, "Wait, you're drinking now?" Not even mean, just surprised. She laughed and said her doctor told her 1 glass throughout the whole pregnancy was fine, that European women do it all the time. I shrugged and said, "Okay, just saying I read that even a little bit can mess up the baby's brain development or something." That was it. Literally, that was the whole conversation. She rolled her eyes at me, said I needed to stop reading mom blogs, and walked back to the living room. I didn't think about it again. We opened presents, ate cake, played the stupid games where you guess the baby food flavors. Normal baby shower stuff. Fast forward 8 weeks. Faye went into labor early at 35 weeks. Baby boy came out 4 pounds. They kept him in the NICU for 3 weeks. He had some breathing issues, but they said that was normal for preemies. Everyone was relieved when they finally brought him home. But around 6 months, Faye started noticing things. He wasn't hitting his milestones. Wasn't rolling over, wasn't sitting up, wasn't tracking objects with his eyes the way he should. The pediatrician sent them to a specialist, then another specialist. By the time he was 1, they had the diagnosis: cerebral palsy, moderate to severe. Faye stopped calling me around that time. I figured she was just overwhelmed with all the appointments and therapy sessions. Mom said she was barely sleeping, barely eating. Her husband Glenn was working double shifts to cover the medical bills. I sent texts checking in, but got one-word answers. Then 2 months ago, out of nowhere, Faye showed up at my apartment. I was getting ready for work, still in my pajama pants and hoodie. She just walked in when I opened the door and stood in my living room staring at me. She said, "You did this." I had no idea what she was talking about. I asked her what she meant and she said, "At my baby shower, you cursed him. You said that thing about the wine messing up his brain and then it happened." I actually laughed because I thought she was joking. But she wasn't. Her face was dead serious. She told me she'd been thinking about it for 2 years, that the doctors couldn't find any other reason for what happened to her son, that the only explanation was that I put it out into the universe that day and made it real. I told her that was insane, that cerebral palsy happens from stuff during birth or pregnancy complications, not from someone making a comment at a party. She just kept saying I didn't understand, that I manifested it, that words have power. I tried to calm her down, told her I was sorry her son was going through this, but that I didn't cause it, that it was a medical condition with actual medical causes. She started crying and said I ruined her life, that every time she has to carry her 2.5-year-old son who can't walk, she thinks about what I said, that every therapy appointment, every surgery consultation, every time he cries because his muscles hurt, she hears my voice in her head saying his brain would be messed up. I didn't know what to say to that. She left after like 5 minutes of just standing there crying in my living room. I couldn't stop thinking about it, about what she said. So I did something maybe I shouldn't have. I called Glenn's sister Rebecca, who's a nurse. We'd always gotten along before everything happened. I asked her if she knew anything about what actually caused the cerebral palsy, if the doctors had given them any real answers. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said she probably shouldn't tell me this, but she felt bad about how the family was treating me. She said there was something that happened during Faye's pregnancy, something Faye never told anyone, not even Glenn at first. Rebecca said the doctors knew exactly what caused the CP and it had nothing to do with wine or baby showers or anything I said. She told me what it was and I felt sick, because this meant Faye knew. She knew the whole time that it wasn't my fault. And then Rebecca said the worst part. Faye had a car accident when she was 8 months pregnant. Not a huge one, but bad enough. She was texting while driving and rear-ended someone at a red light. The airbag deployed, hit her stomach hard. She didn't tell Glenn because she was embarrassed. Told him she fell down the stairs at work. The doctors at the hospital told her the impact could cause complications, but she refused to tell Glenn the truth. When the baby was born early with issues, they explained to both of them that the trauma from the accident was likely the cause. Glenn knows. He's known from the beginning. They both know it was the accident, not anything you said. I just sat there on my couch holding the phone. Rebecca kept talking, but I couldn't process it. Faye had known this whole time. She'd let me carry this guilt for 2 years. Let our entire family think I'd somehow caused her son's disability with a throwaway comment about wine. Rebecca said she was sorry for telling me, but she couldn't watch me be blamed anymore. That Faye had been spiraling since the diagnosis. That the guilt of the accident was eating her alive and she needed someone else to blame. That I was convenient. I hung up and just sat there for maybe an hour. Then I got angry. Really angry. The kind of angry where your hands shake and you can't think straight. I called Faye. No answer. I called again. Nothing. I sent a text. I know about the accident. She called back in 30 seconds. Who told you? Her voice was sharp. Does it matter? You've been letting me think I caused this. You've been letting everyone think it. You don't understand, she said. I can't live with what I did. Every single day I look at my son and know it's my fault. That he'll never walk right or talk right or have a normal life because I was checking a stupid text message. Do you know what that feels like? So you decided to make it my fault instead? I didn't decide anything. I just couldn't stop thinking about what you said. Like maybe if you hadn't said it, the universe wouldn't have made it happen. That's not how the universe works, Faye. That's not how anything works. You don't get to tell me how to process my trauma. She was crying now. You have no idea what it's like to live with this. To know you destroyed your own child's life. Then deal with it. Go to therapy, talk to Glenn. Don't make me the villain in your story. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone screen until it went dark. That was 2 months ago. Since then, things have gotten worse. Way worse. Mom called me 3 days after that phone call. She'd heard from Faye that I'd been harassing her. That I'd accused her of lying about the pregnancy. That I was trying to make her look like a bad mother. Mom said she was disappointed in me. That Faye was going through enough without me adding to it. I tried to explain what Rebecca told me, but Mom cut me off. Said Rebecca had no business sharing private medical information. That even if there was an accident, it didn't change the fact that I'd said something cruel at the baby shower. That my words had hurt Faye. But Mom, she's blaming me for something I didn't cause. She knows I didn't cause it. Your sister is in pain. She needs support right now, not accusations. What about my pain? What about the fact that I've spent 2 years thinking I somehow hurt my nephew? Mom just sighed. You're young, you'll get over it. Faye has to live with this every day. That conversation ended with Mom saying she thought it was best if I didn't come to family dinners for a while, just until things calmed down. I didn't go to Thanksgiving. First time in my life I've missed it. I ordered Chinese food and watched Netflix alone in my apartment. My phone stayed silent all day. Glenn reached out about a week later, asked if we could meet for coffee. I almost said no, but curiosity won. We met at this place near his work. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept in months. Dark circles under his eyes, hair unwashed, wrinkled shirt. He ordered black coffee and didn't touch it. Rebecca told you, he said. Not a question. I nodded. I'm sorry about all of this. He rubbed his face with both hands. Faye's not well. She hasn't been well since Jasper was diagnosed. Jasper. That was the first time I'd heard his nephew's name in months. Nobody talked about him around me anymore. She needs help, Glenn. Real help. Not just letting her blame me for something that wasn't my fault. I know. I've been trying to get her to see someone. She went to one therapy session and refused to go back. Said the therapist didn't understand. Does she really believe I caused this? Or is she just saying it because she can't deal with the truth? Glenn was quiet for a long time. I think it started as the second thing. But now I'm not sure she knows the difference anymore. She's convinced herself that your comment somehow made the accident happen. That if you hadn't put it out there, she wouldn't have been distracted that day. It's like her brain has rewritten the whole timeline. That's insane. Yeah, it is. He finally took a sip of his coffee and made a face. But I don't know how to fix it, and I'm drowning here. Between Jasper's medical bills and Faye's mental state and trying to keep my job, I don't have anything left. I felt bad for him. I did. But I was also angry that he'd let this go on for so long. You could have said something. You could have told the family the truth. And what, make Faye look like a liar? Make my son's disability her fault in everyone's eyes? I thought if I just kept quiet, she'd work through it. But she's not working through it. She's getting worse. He told me Faye had started posting about it online, in mom groups and disability forums, talking about how her sister had cursed her baby with words, how toxic family members can manifest harm. He showed me some of the posts on his phone. They were vague enough that nobody knew who she was talking about, but specific enough that I recognized the story. Hundreds of comments. Women saying they believed in the power of words, that negative energy can affect pregnancies, that I was a terrible person. Some suggested Faye cut me off completely for her own healing. She's building a whole narrative, Glenn said, and I don't know how to stop it without blowing up our entire life. So I'm just supposed to let her destroy my reputation? Let our family think I'm some kind of monster? No, I don't know. I'm asking for your patience while I figure out how to get her help. I left that coffee shop feeling worse than when I went in. 2 weeks later, Faye posted something on Facebook. A long post about toxic family members and protecting your peace. About how sometimes the people who hurt you most are the ones you grew up with. How she was done explaining herself to people who didn't understand trauma. The comments from our relatives started immediately. Aunt Linda said she was proud of Faye for setting boundaries. Our cousin Diane said family isn't always blood. Mom commented a heart emoji. Nobody reached out to ask my side. I lost it a little bit. Wrote out this whole response explaining everything. The accident, the lies, the manipulation. Had my finger hovering over post. But then I deleted it. Because what good would it do? Make me look petty? Make Faye's mental breakdown public? Hurt Jasper when he's old enough to read it someday? So I just unfollowed her. Unfollowed most of my family, actually. If they wanted to believe her story, that was their choice. Work became my escape. I was putting in 60-hour weeks just to avoid sitting at home thinking about it. My boss noticed and pulled me aside. "You okay? You've been different lately." I gave him the short version. He listened without interrupting. "Family stuff is the worst," he said. "Can't fire them, can't quit them. I'm pretty sure I've been quit." He told me to take some time off. Said I'd been burning myself out. I didn't want time off. Time off meant thinking. But he insisted. So I went home, sat on my couch, stared at the wall, thought about how my sister had chosen her narrative over our relationship, how my mom had chosen Faye's comfort over my truth, how I'd become the villain in a story I didn't even know I was in. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Is this Faye's sister?" A woman's voice, professional. "Yeah. This is Dr. Hammond from the Pediatric Development Center. I'm Jasper's neurologist. Glenn gave me your number. I hope that's okay." My stomach dropped. "Is Jasper okay?" "Jasper's fine. Well, as fine as he can be given his condition. I'm calling about Faye. She's been bringing up this story about you causing Jasper's cerebral palsy. I've tried explaining to her multiple times that CP doesn't work that way, that it was the trauma from her accident. But she's becoming increasingly fixated on this idea that your comment somehow caused it. She told her doctor about me? She brings it up at every appointment. It's interfering with Jasper's care because she's so focused on this perceived wrong that she's not focusing on his actual needs. I wanted to reach out because I think she needs psychiatric help, and Glenn mentioned you might be able to talk to your mother about it." I almost laughed. "My mother thinks I'm the problem." Dr. Hammond sighed. "I see. Well, I'm documenting all of this. If Faye's mental state continues to deteriorate, we may need to involve other services. I just wanted to give the family a heads up." "Other services like what?" "Social services. To ensure Jasper's care isn't being compromised." Oh no. Is it that bad? She's not neglecting him, but she's not present. She's so consumed by this blame and guilt that she's not connecting with her son. And he needs a present parent, especially given his disabilities. We talked for a few more minutes. Dr. Hammond gave me her direct line and said to call if I noticed anything concerning. After we hung up, I just sat there. This had gotten so much bigger than me and Faye. Jasper was suffering because Faye couldn't face what she'd done. I called Glenn back. "We need to do an intervention or something." Dr. Hammond called me. "Faye's not okay and it's affecting Jasper." "I know. I've been trying to get her to see someone. She refuses. Then we need to make her. Get your parents involved, get her friends involved, Van, and this isn't just about her anymore." Glenn was quiet. Then, "Her parents won't help. They think I'm overreacting. They think she just needs time to grieve the child she thought she'd have." "And your parents?" "They live in Florida. They've only seen Jasper twice. They don't really get how bad it is. So it's just you. It's just me. And me, I guess. If you need backup." "I don't think she'll listen to you." "Probably not, but I can't just do nothing." We made a plan. Glenn would try to get Faye to a psychiatrist. If she refused, he'd talk to her primary care doctor about options. I'd reach out to Diane, who was closer to Faye than anyone else in the family, see if she could get through to her. Diane met me for lunch the next day. She was skeptical at first. "Faye said you've been causing problems." "Faye's been lying. About a lot of things." I told her everything. The accident, the medical records, the conversation with Dr. Hammond. She listened with her arms crossed. "Why should I believe you over my cousin? Call Glenn, call Rebecca. Hell, call Dr. Hammond. I'm not making this up." She pulled out her phone right there and called Glenn. Put it on speaker. He confirmed everything. The accident, Faye's refusal to get help, the doctor's concerns. Diane's face changed. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" "Because Faye's his wife. He was trying to protect her." After she hung up, Diane just stared at her salad. I commented on her Facebook post. I told her she was strong for cutting out toxic people. "You didn't know. I should have asked your side. I just assumed." She trailed off. "I'm sorry. It's fine." "It's not fine. We all just took her word for it. That's messed up." Diane promised to talk to Faye, to try to get her to see that she needed help. She also said she'd talk to Aunt Linda, who was close with Mom. Maybe if enough people said something, Mom would listen. But I wasn't holding my breath. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Jasper, this little kid I'd barely met who was caught in the middle of all this, who needed his mom, but his mom was too busy blaming me to be there for him. I decided to write it all down, not to post anywhere, just to have a record of what actually happened. Dates, conversations, medical information, everything. If this went further sideways, I wanted proof of the truth. 3 days later, Diane called me crying. I tried talking to Faye. She completely lost it, started screaming at me that I was betraying her, that everyone was turning against her. Glenn had to physically step between us. She threw a picture frame at the wall. Glenn said she's never done anything like that before. "Did you call anyone?" Glenn called her doctor. They're trying to get her in for an emergency evaluation, but she has to agree to go. That same day, Aunt Linda called me. First time we'd spoken in months. Diane told me some things. About Faye, About what really happened. Yeah. Why didn't you say something sooner? Would you have believed me? Silence. Then, probably not. I'm sorry about that. Everyone keeps apologizing, but nothing changes. I talked to your mother. She doesn't want to hear it. She said Faye's been through enough and bringing up the accident now is just cruel. So Mom knows about the accident? She's known from the beginning. Glenn told both sets of parents right after it happened. She just didn't want to make Faye feel worse about it. My brain stopped working for a second. Wait, Mom knew? This entire time? Yes. She thought it was better to let Faye process it however she needed to, even if that meant blaming you. So Mom knew Faye was lying and just let her? She didn't see it as lying. She saw it as Faye coping. I hung up. Didn't say goodbye. Just hung up and threw my phone across the room. The screen cracked when it hit the wall, but I didn't care. Mom knew. Had known from the start. Had let Faye blame me. Had let the whole family believe I'd done something wrong. Had cut me out of holidays and family dinners knowing I was innocent. I don't remember the rest of that day. I know I called in sick to work. I know I didn't eat anything. I know I sat on my bathroom floor for a long time just breathing. The next coherent memory I have is Glenn calling me at like 2 in the morning. Faye's in the hospital. Psychiatric hold. She tried to hurt herself. I was at the hospital in 20 minutes. Glenn was in the waiting room looking like a ghost. What happened? She locked herself in the bathroom with a bottle of pills. I broke the door down. She'd only taken a few, but she was hysterical, saying she couldn't live with the guilt anymore, that Jasper would be better off without her. I called 911. Where's Jasper? With my sister. He's okay. He doesn't know what's happening. We sat there until sunrise. A doctor finally came out and said Faye was stable, that they were keeping her for 72 hours minimum, that she'd been evaluated and was severely depressed with some dissociative symptoms. She's been living in a reality she constructed to protect herself from guilt, the doctor explained. It's not uncommon in cases of traumatic responsibility, but it's gotten to the point where she can't distinguish between what actually happened and what she's convinced herself happened. Can you fix it? Glenn asked. We can treat her. Therapy, medication, time, but she has to want to get better. And she has to face what actually happened with her son. Glenn started crying, just quiet tears running down his face while he stared at the floor. The doctor looked at me. Are you the sister she's been talking about? Yeah, she's mentioned you quite a bit. I want to be clear that nothing that happened to her child was your fault. Cerebral palsy isn't caused by comments or thoughts. It's a physical condition resulting from physical trauma. In your nephew's case, blunt force trauma to the mother's abdomen during pregnancy. I know, but I don't think she knows. Not really. Her brain has rewritten the narrative to protect her ego from the unbearable truth that she caused her child's disability. You became the scapegoat. Glenn and I sat in that waiting room for hours, neither of us talking much. Finally, a nurse said we could see her. Faye looked small in the hospital bed, pale, dark circles under her eyes, IV in her arm. She looked at Glenn, but not at me. I'm sorry, she whispered. Glenn took her hand. I know. I can't do this anymore. I can't live with what I did. You don't have to do it alone, but you have to accept help. She finally looked at me. I know you didn't curse him. I've always known, but it felt better to blame you than to blame myself. Does that make me a monster? It makes you human, I said, even though I was still angry. Still hurt, but she looked so broken that I couldn't pile on. I'm so sorry. For everything. For the things I said. For letting everyone believe you did something wrong. For the Facebook posts, all of it. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded. They kept Faye for 8 days. Glenn visited every day. I went twice more. The conversations were stilted and awkward, but she was trying. Really trying. The doctors put her on medication and set her up with the trauma therapist. When she got out, Glenn took a leave from work to help her adjust. Jasper stayed with Rebecca for the first few days. Faye needed time to stabilize before taking care of a disabled toddler. The first family dinner after everything happened was tense as hell. Mom had finally acknowledged that she'd handled things wrong. She didn't apologize directly, but she'd asked me to come. That was something. Faye sat across from me, picking at her food. She'd lost weight. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked exhausted. I'm going to post a correction, she said suddenly, on Facebook, about what I said before. I need to tell the truth. You don't have to do that, I said. Yes, I do. I destroyed your reputation. I let our family think you were cruel. I posted things online that made you look like a monster. I have to fix it. The internet never forgets. Even if you correct it, people will still believe the original story. Then I'll deal with that. But I won't let you keep taking blame for my mistakes. She posted it 2 days later. A long explanation about her mental breakdown, the accident, the guilt, the lies. She apologized to me publicly, said she'd made up a story to cope with trauma and had hurt an innocent person in the process. The comments were mixed. Some people were supportive, said mental health was complicated and she was brave for admitting the truth. Others were harsh, said she was manipulative and abusive. that she'd scapegoated her sister to avoid responsibility. I didn't read most of them. Didn't matter what strangers thought. What mattered was that, slowly, family members started reaching out. Awkward texts, short phone calls, people apologizing for believing Faye without question, for cutting me off, for making me the villain. I accepted the apologies, but things weren't the same. Trust doesn't just bounce back because someone says sorry. Diane started inviting me to things again. Coffee, movies, normal cousin stuff. She was trying to rebuild the bridge. I appreciated it even when it felt forced. Glenn kept me updated on Faye's progress. She was going to therapy twice a week, taking her medication, slowly reconnecting with Jasper. It was hard for her. Every time she looked at him, she saw what she'd done. But her therapist was helping her work through it. Mom and I had a long conversation about a month after Faye got out of the hospital. She admitted she'd known about the accident from the beginning, that she'd chosen to protect Faye by letting me take the blame. She cried, said she didn't know how to face the fact that she'd failed both her daughters. I thought I was helping Faye, Mom said. I thought if I just supported her version of events, she'd be able to move past it. I didn't realize I was enabling her to avoid dealing with reality. You threw me under the bus to protect her. I know, and I hate myself for it. Good, you should. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was honest. That was all I had to offer. Jasper turned 3 a few months after everything came out. Faye threw him a small birthday party, just immediate family. She asked if I'd come. I almost said no, but then I thought about this kid who'd been through so much already, who had no idea about any of the adult drama surrounding his existence, who just wanted to eat cake and open presents. So I went. Jasper was in his wheelchair when I got there. Special one designed for kids with CP. He looked up at me with these huge brown eyes and smiled. Couldn't talk well, but he made sounds when he was happy. Faye watched me watching him. You can hold him if you want, she said quietly. I picked him up carefully. He was heavier than I expected. Solid. Real. He leaned his head against my shoulder and made a humming sound. He likes you, Faye said. How can you tell? He doesn't hum for just anyone. I sat on the couch holding my nephew while everyone sang happy birthday. He clapped his hands in this uncoordinated way that was somehow perfect. When they brought out the cake, his whole face lit up. Later, after most people had left, Faye and I ended up alone in the kitchen doing dishes. Thank you for coming, she said. He's my nephew. Still, after everything, thank you. Are you doing better? Some days. Some days I wake up and the guilt is so heavy I can't breathe. But I'm learning to sit with it instead of running from it. My therapist says that's progress. Is it helping? The therapy? Yeah. I'm starting to understand why I did what I did. Doesn't make it right, but at least I understand it. Turns out carrying guilt for permanently disabling your child is harder than anyone tells you. And my brain found a shortcut by making it someone else's fault. Your fault. But shortcuts don't actually work. They just make things worse. We finished the dishes in silence. Before I left, Faye hugged me. First time in 3 years. I know sorry doesn't cover it, she whispered, but I am. Every day I'm sorry. I know. That was 6 months ago. Things aren't perfect, probably never will be. Faye and I talk maybe once a week. Usually about Jasper. Sometimes about other stuff. We're building something new. Not the relationship we had before because that's dead and gone, but something honest at least. Glenn's doing better. Got a promotion at work that helps with the medical bills. They're in couples therapy now, working through the damage Faye's breakdown caused to their marriage. He says some days are harder than others, but they're trying. Jasper's doing okay. He'll never walk normally, might never talk clearly, but he's happy. That's what matters. He's got a good team of therapists and doctors, and he's got parents who are finally both present and dealing with reality. Mom and I are in family therapy, weekly sessions where we talk about boundaries and accountability and all that stuff. She's learning that protecting one kid by sacrificing another isn't actually protecting anyone. It's hard work, but we're doing it. The extended family slowly came around. Most of them anyway. There are still a few relatives who think I should have just kept my mouth shut at the baby shower. That none of this would have happened if I hadn't said anything about the wine. I don't waste energy on those people anymore. Last week, Faye texted me asking if I wanted to come over for dinner. Just us. Glenn would watch Jasper at his mom's place. She wanted to talk without everyone else around. I almost said no, but curiosity won. We ordered pizza because neither of us felt like cooking. Sat at her kitchen table with paper plates and cheap wine. Felt almost normal. I need to tell you something, Faye said. Something I haven't told anyone. Not even my therapist yet. Okay. The day of the accident. I wasn't just texting. I was texting Glenn about baby names. We were arguing because I wanted to name the baby after Dad and he wanted a different name. And I was so mad that I wasn't paying attention to the road. I saw the car stopped at the light too late, slammed on the brakes but still hit them. And in that split second before impact, I thought about what you said, about the wine and the brain damage. And I remember thinking that maybe you were right, that maybe I'd already messed up the baby. And then the airbag hit my stomach, and I knew I just made it so much worse. She was crying now, quiet tears dripping onto her pizza. When they told me at the hospital that the impact could cause problems, I couldn't tell Glenn about the text argument. Couldn't tell him I'd been distracted fighting with him about a name for a baby that might not be okay. So I lied about the stairs at work. And then when Jasper was born early and had problems, I couldn't face that I'd caused it. But your comment was right there in my head. This convenient explanation that wasn't my fault. And I just grabbed onto it, made it real in my mind until I believed it. Why are you telling me this now? Because my therapist says I need to own every piece of the truth, not just the parts that are easy to admit. I caused the accident by being distracted. I caused the airbag deployment by not paying attention. I caused my son's disability by my own negligence. Not you. Never you. Just me. That must be hard to carry. It's impossible some days. But my therapist says that's what taking responsibility feels like. It's supposed to be hard. If it was easy, it wouldn't mean anything. We finished dinner mostly in silence. Before I left, Faye gave me a box. What's this? Letters. I've been writing them for the past few months. Things I couldn't say out loud. Apologies, explanations, memories from before everything got messed up. You don't have to read them, but I wanted you to have them. I took the box home, sat on my couch staring at it for an hour, finally opened it. 37 letters. Some long, some short. All handwritten. All raw and honest. She talked about the guilt, the shame, the fear, about watching Jasper struggle and knowing it was her fault, about lying awake at night wishing she could go back to that red light and just put the damn phone down. But she also wrote about good memories. Family vacations when we were kids, inside jokes. The time we convinced our parents we'd been kidnapped when we just fell asleep in the treehouse. Normal sister stuff from before everything got complicated. The last letter was different. I know I can't undo what I did. Can't give you back the years we lost or fix your relationship with Mom or erase the things I said. But I want you to know that you didn't deserve any of it. You were 21 making a casual comment at a baby shower. I was a scared pregnant woman who made a terrible mistake and then spent years making it worse by blaming you. If I could go back, I'd handle it all differently. But I can't. So all I can do is try to be better going forward. Try to be the sister you deserve to have all along. I don't know if you'll ever fully forgive me. I don't know if I'd forgive me. But I'm grateful for every conversation we have. Every text, every time you show up. You didn't have to, but you did. And that means everything. Love, Faye. I put the letters back in the box and cried for the first time since this whole thing started. Not angry tears, not hurt tears, just tired tears. Exhausted from carrying this weight for so long. The next morning, I texted Faye. I read the letters. Thank you for being honest. She replied immediately. Thank you for reading them. I'm not ready to say I forgive you yet, but I'm not as angry anymore. That's something. That's more than I deserve. We're taking it slow. Building back piece by piece. Some days are easier than others. Some days I still get angry about the years we lost and the lies she told and the family dinners I missed. Other days I just feel sad about the whole situation. But Jasper's 4th birthday is coming up in a few months. Faye already asked if I'd help plan it. Said Jasper's been asking for his aunt. Can't say my name right, but he points at pictures of me and gets excited. I said yes. Because at the end of the day, he's just a kid who didn't ask for any of this. And maybe helping him have a good birthday is a place to start rebuilding. Glenn told me last week that Faye's therapist thinks she's made significant progress. That she's finally accepting responsibility without deflecting or making excuses. That's the difference between now and before. She's not running from the truth anymore. She's sitting with it, living with it, learning to be a mother to a disabled child while carrying the knowledge that she caused it. I don't know if we'll ever get back to what we were. Probably not. Too much damage, too much time lost. But maybe we can build something new. Something honest. Something based on truth instead of convenient lies. Last night, Mom called me. Said she was proud of me for giving Faye another chance. For being the bigger person. I'm not being the bigger person, I told her. I'm just choosing not to carry anger around forever. That's for me, not for Faye. Still, it takes strength. It takes exhaustion. I'm tired of being mad. We talked for a while about other things, normal stuff. Work, weather, a book she'd read. It felt almost like before. Almost. The thing nobody tells you about family drama is that it never really ends. It just evolves into new shapes, new tensions, new ways of being broken together. Faye and I are learning that now. Learning to exist in the aftermath of her breakdown and my anger and our shared family's failures. Some days I wish I'd never said anything at that baby shower, that I'd just let her drink her wine and kept my mouth shut. Then maybe none of this would have happened. But my therapist says that's not how it works, that Faye's accident would have happened regardless, that her inability to cope was about her, not about me. I'm working on believing that. 2 weeks ago, I went to one of Jasper's physical therapy sessions. Faye had asked if I wanted to come, see what his days were like. I wasn't sure, but I said yes. Watching him work with his therapist was hard. He was trying so hard to do basic things that most kids do without thinking. Moving his arms in certain ways, trying to sit up straight. The effort on his little face was heartbreaking, but he was smiling. Even when it was hard, even when he got frustrated, he'd look at Faye and grin and try again. And Faye would cheer him on with this fierce love in her eyes. She was fully present, no longer drowning in guilt, just being his mom. After the session, we got ice cream. Jasper made a huge mess with his because his motor control isn't great, but he was so happy. Chocolate all over his face. Faye laughed and wiped him clean, and it felt like maybe we were going to be okay. Not perfect, not like before, but okay in a new way. That's where things stand now. Faye's in therapy, taking her meds, being a mom. Glenn's working on forgiving her for the years of lies. Mom's trying to make up for her mistakes. The family's slowly accepting the truth.